And so with that, we want to introduce some other absolutely excellent individuals who've been doing amazing work, and I'm excited to learn from this. So we're starting with Zenobia, right? So Zenobia's on Zoom. Zenobia, thank you for being here. Would you tell us a little about what you've been doing, because you've been doing something very interesting with the young folks at your center?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much for having me, and it's really nice to hear about the different initiatives at the various centers. I just prepared a little bit of a PowerPoint, so I'm going to share my screen. And is it showing like a PowerPoint? Perfect. Okay, so I'm from Toronto and belong to the ZSO, and we have two sites, and I'm at the East End site. So I'll just start by saying I'm not a teacher. I'm one of the parent volunteers. And 2 years ago, I started to help coordinate the snack program. So why did we, you know what, I just have to change my view. I'm so sorry. I can't see what I need to be seeing. So why did we think about snacks? So this started pre-pandemic, and what we were noticing was a lot of the snacks. So the snack was on a rotational system, and the parents would each take turns providing snacks. The kids were having pizza, Timbits or donuts, chips, pop. A lot of the stuff that we ate when we were kids in the 80s and 90s going to the ZSO. And we found that food is a really important way of connecting with culture and traditions. And so we found that I found it really ironic that the students were eating other cultural foods during our class time, but not traditional Parsi or Iranian food. And it really seemed like a lost opportunity, something that we were missing a chance to kind of connect with kids on all different levels. And one of the dynamics was also that so I'm in my 40s, and 3 of my kids go to religion classes. And so in our generation, most of us grew up eating traditional food at home. And we were noticing this wasn't the case with this generation who were the students at the ZSO. And I'll get into that in a bit more detail. And you know, the other piece of that is people are excited about food and snacks. It's actually a big part of our lesson. So usually we have about 2 hours, and that time is split up with snacks in between. So in September 22, we returned back to in-person classes, but we had already started this prior to COVID. And I did a parent survey just to get an idea of who were the families that were joining. This year we have about 55 kids at the East End class, plus another 10 to 15 from the Iranian Qanun that don't join every time, but they're there. So we can be serving food for about 70 kids. And then what's been happening quite a bit this year is the parents really want to eat what we're making. So we're serving quite a bit of people. And then we asked all families to contribute $20 a child to help cover the cost of snacks. And even with inflation, we've made that work because we have a lot of families who donate. They'll come in the kitchen, they'll cook with the kids, and they decide to donate. So that's really lovely. And we also wanted grandparents and extended family members to come too. And that doesn't happen every class, but it happens a fair bit. There has been some challenges in that as well, because anyhow, but it has been a nice way of connecting to extended family members. So this is just from the survey that we had done right at the very beginning. So 21 families responded. And the question was at home, do you typically eat, and what do you typically eat? And what we found was less than half were eating traditional food at home on a regular basis. So more than half were eating either a mixture or mostly Western or food from other cultures. And so knowing this, we felt it was really important to kind of provide a snack that was more traditional. And then also from the survey that we had done, we were asking what statement best describes your preference. And oh, sorry about that. Okay, you know what? Okay, my apologies. Okay. And so what we found as well, that the majority really wanted their kids exposed to traditional food. 6 said that they hadn't really thought about it much. And then I didn't get another response. But that I found kind of curious, but it seemed like the majority of families were open to it. So these are some examples of what we've served and what we've cooked with the kids. We've also served other things, but not everything is good for group cooking. So, you know, for example, Save or Revel, we don't want a class full of kids watching an adult cook Save or cook Revel, though they love it. So we've served that on days where kids can't be in the kitchen. And sorry, I didn't explain that, but at the ZSO on the East End, we have a very large industrial kitchen that we can easily accommodate a large group of kids plus adults. So that's been really helpful. And so we also had to think about what can we cook within an hour, because we have to serve it within an hour, and some things need prep. So I'll often go a little bit early and just prep, like potatoes, for example, if they need to be boiled so kids aren't handling hot food or you know, some of that prep work happens, but these are some of the things that we've been able to serve. And here are some pictures. So I like this one. This was from last year. We made fora with the kids. So there's 2 grandparents in the background. And I like this picture because this was a group, I think these kids are about 10 or 11 years old. And the picture is interesting because so many of them hadn't cracked an egg. And so here we have a mom showing a student how to crack an egg. And that stood out for me, that lesson. And these are the 2 grandmothers. And the one on the right was actually one of my religion class teachers when I was a kid. And so she came back, and she was very happy to come back. And her grandchildren, their triplets, are now in the program at the ZSO. And so she brought her friends. So that was really nice to have them. So the kids cook the food together. We try to do something that we can cook within an hour. If it's something like when we did, for example, chapat, which is a traditional Parsi quote unquote pancake, we knew we couldn't make 80 to 100 within an hour. So we had made a bunch ahead of time. But then the kids didn't actually, if they're young, they don't notice. They don't know that they haven't cooked anything. And what they love doing, so this is another space that we sometimes use with the kids, and they love serving. So they take a lot of pride in serving the food that they've made. And so here's a picture of them. So all the kids come down and they often say, "What is that? What is that?" And so what we've started to do as well is put up a sign with the food so that kids also learn it's not a pancake, but it's a chapat or whatever. It's not an omelet, it's a poro. And we've made, it's been nice, we've made a combination of Parsi and Iranian food, which has been good. And so here, just I'm almost at the end. Here are some of the lessons that I've learned. Kids really seem to enjoy the hands-on activity. Last year, there was a little bit of reluctance. Not every kind of religion class had a class in the kitchen. This year, every class is asking, when's our turn? When's our turn? So we're having the kids almost 2 or 3 times during the year in. And it also gives teachers a little bit of a break. So what's worked well at our center is if a teacher's away, they'll email me and say, "Zenobia, we can't be here this class. Can you take my class?" And so I'll cook with the class. The little kids love when their family members are there. The teenagers, not so much, but that's been really nice. They're so proud of their grandparents being there, or, you know, someone from their family. We've also noticed kids are trying different food that they might not try if they were at home. They might say, "Oh, what is that?" But then you just have one kid say, "Oh, I love pora. We eat this at home all the time," or "I love laganu custard." And then we find kids are, more open to trying it. We've got some positive feedback from parents as well. Not everybody is cooking traditional food at home. So we've had some parents say, "I don't know how to make that. This is really wonderful," or "I'd like the recipe." But the other piece is, I still think we don't have full buy-in. So a lot of adults and even kids don't seem to get it. Like, what is it that we're doing? So I'll give an example. I often have kids saying, "When are we going to have pizza? Can we just have pizza next class? Can we just have donuts?" And so I have to remind them, "Well, we're here at religion classes, so you can have that any other time, but we're not going to do that here." And and also with parents. So for example, this weekend, the graduating class is having a sleepover. And, you know, the idea of encompassing this as like embracing the idea that, you know, it's something we really need to commit to. I don't think there's full buy-in. And that's it. So I'll just stop sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing, Zenobia. I wonder if anyone has any questions for you. That was so interesting. I think I'm going to propose it to my center.
Yeah, I want just to say thank you, Zenobia. It was a very great sharing experiences, especially the foods. You know, we have some cooking, but the way that you look at it for traditional foods and you know, so you know, teaching training the kids how to cook the traditional food, it was really nice, you know, interesting for me. And the other thing was the experience with the grandmothers and grandfathers. That one was wonderful. We had some guests, you know, we invited some grandmothers to talk about the old traditionals, for example, about the farvardingan or frudog, what you guys done in the past in Iran, for example. And it looked like kids communicate with grandmothers very, you know, very well, and it was interesting. And just adding the experience that we just work on some plays from Shahnameh for Nowruz. And it was a good experience with us too. But Zenobia, I like your the PowerPoint for sure. I want to share your PowerPoint with the other teachers in our, if you let us, if we can do it, I want to share that one with our teachers in our association. Thank you.
Wonderful. We can send it to everyone through the Google Group. Yeah.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
You can talk.
Okay. Yeah. Zenobia, I have a question of, I love the idea. You've really given me a lot of ideas, and I think we might be able to do something.
Yeah.
It's excellent. But logistically, did you have the kids actually cooking the food, or were they watching someone? How did you actually go about doing it?
Thanks. That's a really great question. So for some snack program, like when the class isn't in the kitchen, we just make it for them. But now this year, every single class, we've had a class in the kitchen. So I believe we have 6 classes at our center, and they've all take turns. One thing that I do consider is how old are the kids? I didn't get into too many details. So if they're little, we don't want, you know, we do, like with the little kids, we've done cutlets or patties or batasa. And some things you have to make ahead of time, like you can't make 100 batasa and have them cooked and ready. So what I've done is I've made them ahead of time, and then the ones that they make, they take home. So things like that. But they love cooking and being hands-on. And then by like 11, 12, they can do almost everything except the big industrial stoves. We kind of do that part with the frying but otherwise they're doing everything.
Excellent. Yeah, and when kids are involved, they connect with the food, and they're so much more interested when they have made the food. Yeah. That's a great idea.
They enjoy coming to classes more.
Thank you. So, Homi Bala at the 8th World Zoroastrian Congress in London, UK, in 2005 quoted this: "Of what faith are the waters? Of what faith the trees? Of what faith bounteous Mother Earth? Of what faith," sorry, I'm just going to minimize it. Aura Mazda. Of what faith, sorry about that, was Zarathustra. Of what faith and law as well, a Mazda worshiper am I. So relating to that quote, our objective for this AVA project is for Zoroastrians all over the world to create a learning community
and have everyone in our community contribute to taking care of the environment. So in our ancient Iranian Zartusti culture, we learn to take care of our creations. What the AVA Project is all about is bringing people together with the same objective. And the objective we're trying to concentrate on is water. The two sustainable goals that relate to water are listed here. It's goal number 6 and goal number 14, which is water and sanitation and life below water. To do this, we're trying to teach people the concept of globalization, which is to think globally and act locally. The length of this project would be 10 years. So we started in 2020, so it would end in 2030. And we always try to do at least one global sort of event involving people either online or in person on June 5th, which is World Environment Day. So an example of what we've done in the past is we've had one of the youth members, I think a 13, 14-year-old, teach painting to kids while we were also trying to show them why water is important and why water is scarce in this world, because the little kids don't understand that concept. You just turn on the tap, you expect water to come through. They don't know that the other side of the world, there are other kids there walking 45 minutes to just get a bucket of water, and they only have that for the whole day, right? So explaining that to the kids while they're taking a break from the paint drawing and putting layers of paint. So they usually will paint a scene of water and then have an explanation given to them about the importance of water. So those are the kinds of events that we would do on June 5th. Sorry, I'm just reusing a presentation from the past, so I'm just kind of skipping a few screens. So for the AVA Project, we currently have over 185, I should say, volunteers now from 10 different countries. Volunteers include engineers, like water engineers. I didn't even know this existed, but there are water engineers. We have priests, we have authors, entrepreneurs, doctors, scientists, school teachers, graduate and undergraduate students, journalists, editors, moms and grandmoms. And we even have botanists, artists, and musicians. All of them range from ages 12 to about 80. So back in 2020, we had an 80-year-old author join us from New Zealand, and he was willing to write articles for us on this topic, which he was pretty familiar with. So each of these people bring their own unique opinion and talents to the team, the AVA Project team. And I'm happy to say that we have kids participating from all over US and Canada. One kid is as young as 8 years old. She wanted to get involved because she sat with her sister, who's around 12, in a Zoom meeting. And when she saw all of this, she wanted to go ahead and make a video. And she kept telling me that she has talent in video making and she wants to do something for the AVA Project. So I was like, yes, for sure. I'll skip over that. Okay, so some of the AVA Project ideas that the team has come up with, we have broken up into 6 different teams with these projects. First one is the simple local water cleanup. So go to your local areas wherever there's water and do cleanups. Usually this happens when the winter ends and the springtime begins, when places are opening up for spring and summer. So we have a cleanup actually coming up at our Darby Mare a week and a half from now. And I'm trying to arrange to buy a brand new barbecue for our center so that we can initiate the barbecue lunch right after the local cleanup. Secondly, partnering with like-minded companies. So we've discovered that there are a lot of companies that will give out money for social responsibility, and they are big in the sustainability field. So if you tell them, can you partner with us for, say, planting trees, or partner with us for a cleanup, and things like that, they will partner with you. Educating the children. So ever since we started this project in COVID times, we've been doing Zoom sessions. We've been putting out children's material. We even have material that the teachers can teach with their kids on sustainability, on the AVA or water creation, things like that. And so what we've been doing is during the New York Congress, during the Parliament of World Religions, and all of these large events that FEZANA has been represented at, wherever there are children, we create AVA Project materials for the children there. And then they do those water activities and learn about sustainability and water at the same time. Educating the community. I did not bring the FEZANA journal, but we have a whole FEZANA journal dedicated towards the AVA project and a lot of articles on water and sustainability. So it's the December 2021 journal. Lastly, bringing clean water to remote areas. This is one project we're having most trouble with because we don't have this kind of money. But what we're discovering is that there are a lot of companies, especially out in India, that are able to take air, right? They're able to take air and change it into clean water. So and the temperature has to be humid. It has to be with humidity in the air. So what they do is they have these large machines. It can grab the air, change it to clean water, and you can even install these in universities or schools with like a little cooler tap, and the water comes out. They have much larger machines that you can install in a rural area in a village, and it will grab the moisture from the air, convert it to clean water, and people can bring their buckets and fill up clean water in the villages and remote areas. The only problem is these machines are really expensive. So this is like another solution to building wells. Like building wells is now an old thing, you know. It makes more sense to put one of these in a remote area. It's so expensive, so it's very difficult for us to raise money to do this sort of thing. Lastly, the Water and Trees group. In our first meeting, a botanist from India came up with this concept that was totally new to us. He was saying that when riverbeds dry up, when a river dries up, to bring the water levels back up, you have to plant certain types of trees. Once you do that, the water level rises back up again and the river is flowing again. So we didn't realize this. When he told us this, we created a water and trees group and started doing research. What kinds of trees can be planted? Where are there riverbeds so we can, you know, kind of give them this information, tell them, hey, you can revive your, you know, riverbeds that are dried up. So that's what we were doing with this committee. At the same time, the committee brainstormed and said, what would work for us in North America? One of the concepts is the Haftashin table, where we bring all kinds of, you know, plants, and we do fruits, and we do so many things on the table. Even in our jashans and places like that, we use fruits, and there's always a plant, flowers. There's a concept of everything from the land. So we came up with something called the Haftashin garden. It's perpetual Haftashin garden. So you plant certain types of trees at your darbimares, which will give you the fruits that you need for your Haftashin table or your jashan, or plant the flowers that you're going to use. So we kind of made a handout for that. We released that at the last AGM. If you guys were there, we kind of handed that out to you. Since then, we've had a few darbimares sign up with us for the garden, and we've sent them seeds to plant with their religion class kids, which they have done. They've taken advantage of the fact that we paid for them to get seeds and things like that, and they've taken the kids out and planted all of this in their gardens. So hopefully this summer, everything should, spring or summer, everything should sprout up, and we will probably hear more about it.
The ones who had the too for the members.
Yes. Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
center did it, and the one in San Diego also
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh,
came out
nice.
really good, and the kids really enjoyed it. So
Okay.
this is something that other centers
Can do, yeah. Yeah. So in case you guys don't know, some years ago in the COVID years, I did a mass mail out and sent seeds for planting for the Haftasheen table. So the kids planted the seeds in advance so that they would grow and things like that. So we had all of them do a video of this, and then we put the video together to show it to people on what each family did with the seeds. Yeah. Yeah. And then I just put this up. If you want to connect with me about the AVA project, please email myself or Baram. Baram is my co-chair on the UNNGO committee. So, yeah. Thank you.
So much, Afreed.
Thank
That was wonderful. This is a wonderful project to get the kids